Kingdom Hearts 3 is the most disappointing thing to come out of this existence since I was birthed 24 years ago. For some godforsaken reason, this hybrid between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Cooking Mama is actually being paraded as a proper sequel to the franchise. Every time someone describes Kingdom Hearts 3, they say, oh man, yeah, that game makes you feel like a true Keyblade master. Now, I never played Union Cross fully, but did Sora inherit his Keyblade abilities from a fucking bird? This boy is a living contradiction. He is skinnier than a scene kid from 2006, yet his shoes look like they weigh 300 pounds each. How is he flying across the sky like a goddamn Boeing B-52 bomber? I wouldn't mind that Sora floats around like a fucking cherry blossom petal in an anime intro if the combat was fulfilling in any way whatsoever.
With beautiful character summon sequences like Wreck-It Ralph's, different approaches to fighting Heartless and Nobodies, and team-up moves with Donald, Goofy, and world-specific party members, they all contribute to an incredible variety that prevents the combat from descending into monotony and routine even late in the campaign.
So there I was 2 weeks ago, about 3 minutes into another video, that hopefully will come after this one if I stop being such a lazy sack of shit. When the 29th of January rolls around, and I fucking drop everything to wait for my copy of Kingdom Hearts 3. It finally arrives, I pop that bad boy in, and I even recorded my initial reactions to the start of it as well. Oh boy, I'm so excited! Can't wait! This 2.9 gag is like the foreshadowing herald of the immense disappointment this rush job of a conclusion ends up becoming. Before I continue, I need to clarify for some of you who don't know, I am a long-time fan of Kingdom Hearts. I first played the original Kingdom Hearts back in 2003 to 2004, and I've even gotten some of my closest friends into it as well. I have played every single Kingdom Hearts game to being and continuing to be my favorite, and I'm even one of those cucks who actually bought different game consoles just to play this clusterfuck of a series. Hell, if you really need more proof of my obsession/autism, look no further than my old channel, which is filled with Kingdom Hearts AMVs that I made. The most recent being only 3 years ago, back in 2015. The point I'm trying to make is that I am a huge fan of the Kingdom Hearts series. I've played the best, I've played the worst, and on the 29th of January 2019, I was ready to witness, finally, the conclusion of the Xehanort saga. And if somehow you weren't able to decipher my reaction upon viewing the ending of this game from the tone that I've had since this video started, let's just say that it shares kind of the same impression I got from playing the third installment of another franchise I used to really like. Okay, it's not that bad, but it still feels like a fucking slap in the face. Hey Giggles, do you want to actually make a point regarding why this game was so disappointing, or do you want to keep stroking your 1.5-inch hate boner even longer? First of all, 2.5. Second of all, of course I will, but I have to clarify where all this baby rage even comes from. My quarrels with this game does not stem from its gameplay, but mainly the last 4 or so hours of the game. The gameplay is fine, it is flashy, it can be fun, it is solid, fundamentally speaking. I still prefer the drive forms from Kingdom Hearts 2 rather than Keyblade transformations, but they are a fine inclusion. The attractions are fun for the first hour, but get boring in the second, so you can imagine my thoughts on them during the 49th hour of the game. Limit moves like Duck Flare and Goofy Bombardier require no MP, so go fucking nuts. The fuck is this? Wait, there were Link summons in this game? You wanna feel overpowered? Well, this game makes you feel just that, especially if you get that motherfucking Ultima weapon. Christ almighty, oh boy!
How it feels to chew 5 gum. New 5 gum. Stimulate your 3
But it's all flash and no substance. KH3 lacks the depth and difficulty of previous games, namely 2, being largely due to Sora having so many options in combat now that any and all possibility of tension is immediately dispersed once you realize that you literally have 4 get-out-of-jail-free cards waiting at the press of triangle. Or Y for you Xbox One peasants that were granted an opportunity to lick Nomura's hairy Japanese sack along with the rest of us despite not having any of the previous games on your system, but what the fuck do I know? It's so easy that I beat the secret boss at level 44 before, on the hardest difficulty, and while he is kind of fun to fight, I'm devoid of any feeling of accomplishment because of how ultimately shallow he is. In comparison, Lingering Will took me 4.5 hours to beat on critical, and was the most satisfying erection I've ever experienced. There is like literally no motivation to get to level 99 unless you're a trophy fiend, and thus honestly no reason to continue playing. I'm clocked out at around level 59 or some shit, and I'm not gonna return to the game unless some kind of DLC comes out in the near future. I can already see some of your guys' comments before they're even written. Just wait for the final mix patch. They're gonna add in harder bosses and difficulty tweaks and critical mode. I'm honestly so sick of this mentality. Because of the rise of the digital age where patches and DLC have become commonplace, people excuse unfinished products because the devs can just patch in content later. Personally, I believe a game should be released in its strongest state possible and should be further strengthened in quality and content as DLCs and patches become available. The possibility of said DLC in the future does not excuse the unmatched standards from previous iterations. KH2 Final Mix improved upon the original KH2 so much that it is arguably the best way to experience Kingdom Hearts 2. I think the majority of Kingdom Hearts fans agree with this statement, so I think many of you can understand my utter confusion when Kingdom Hearts 3 omitted such fan-favorite additions like critical mode and proper post-game content. Like, how the fuck are you going to have Olympus in a mainline Kingdom Hearts game and not include any Coliseum Cups? Like, what? The one thing I will applaud the devs for is making the game run at 60 FPS whenever possible. It dips here and there, but it's usually consistent on a regular PS4 Slim, so I do have to commend Square Enix for implementing a toggle between 60 and 30 frames per second. The game looks gorgeous. In terms of achieving maximum graphical fidelity, I think the switch to the Unreal Engine definitely paid off. Though I will say that some characters look unnatural to me. Namely my boy Roxas. He just looks like a baby to me all of a sudden. The music is wonderfully composed as always, and you've actually been listening to one of my favorite tracks from the OST for like the past minute and a half. Really, no, listen to this shit, dude.
Yes, 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 yes.
And then it's only in the game for like 5 seconds.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Nomura.
You asshole!
Also, since we're talking about music, how the fuck do we go from
You walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go.
and to
You can't keep getting away with it!
my facetious criticisms aside, I was still having fun and enjoying Kingdom Hearts 3. I was so excited to find out how it all ends that I was forgiving long cutscenes, lackluster worlds, hit or miss dialogue,
It's not the sum of our parts. It's the sum of our hearts. Yeah.
and odd narrative pacing. Then, I got to the game's endgame. And this is when I began wondering what the hell we waited all this time for. If for some reason you don't want to get spoiled, I suggest hopping off now because the rest of this video is going to be a 24-year-old man-child whining about Kingdom Hearts 3's conclusion. So yeah, you've been warned. Let's get on with this shit!
Let's rock.
Back when the E3 trailer dropped, I was one of those spurgs that actually freaked out when I saw Aqua with yellow eyes at the end of it. The thought of Aqua, who is this friendship-obsessed, well-spirited, and albeit one-dimensional, main character being corrupted was such a twist after playing 0.2, and I was begrudgingly ready to see her descent into darkness. So many questions were seeping through my head after I had watched the trailer. How did she get corrupted? Was she possessed by Xehanort? Would she be one of the 13 Darknesses? Let me answer these in reverse order for you. No, no, and she falls in a lake. Aqua turning anti was just shock value. That's it. Her corruption had so little significance in the story that it is resolved within 10 minutes from its reveal. Like, Sora coming in to save the day wasn't all that surprising given the amount of plot devices this series has a reputation for, but if this concept wasn't gonna have much impact on the plot anyway, couldn't this segment have been spaced out in between the final few Disney worlds? Like, imagine if instead of this 10-minute sequence, we could have seen this cutscene after, say, the 4th Disney world you completed, and then face the first section of this boss fight with Riku, and after you finish it, you're back on the world select screen. You head over to the next Disney world, finish that one, and then you fight Aqua 1v1 with Riku, and then, yet again, back to the world select screen, finish the final Disney world, and then Sora can come in with his plot device bullshit and finish the job. Whether or not you agree to my proposed change, at the very least, many of you can probably agree that a change like this could have helped with the game's terrible pacing, and could have added a lot more sense of fulfillment when we finally get our favorite blue boy back. But nah, let's just take one of the most highly anticipated plot points from 2010 and resolve it within a matter of minutes, because fuck you. That'll be $60, please. Also, not to be a technical nitpicker, but why is the animation in this scene so awkward?
You abandoned me, that's what. Left me in this shadow prison for more than a decade, knowing what it would do to me. You abandoned me, that's what. Left me in this shadow prison for more than a decade, knowing what it would do to me.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault.
Okay, so her corruption arc was a letdown, but her redemption arc is actually one of the most badass scenes in all of Kingdom Hearts.
Y'all killing me with this.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We bring Aqua back so that we can save Ventus, and up comes our favorite Edge incarnate ready to fuck shit up. So we have Aqua fight Vanitas, only for the fight not to matter, and we get Fiagra out of existence? Did Aqua really lose against someone whose biggest weakness is getting yeeted through a fucking door? And I get that this scene is a homage to Birth by Sleep, but could we have not done this with just a tad bit more nuance? Thankfully though, Aqua is the last female character to be used as a living plot device in Kingdom Hearts 3, and some of the other female cast really get sliced into and fleshed out as characters. I'm not even gonna talk about this scene. A million other YouTubers have already pointed out how dumb it is. And all I have to add to the conversation is this. What faith did you all have for this retarded plot point from this fucking garbage game to not be the dumbest shit ever?
You get nothing!
Gay Roxas wakes up, Vanitas says, fuck this, I'm out. And then we actually get one of the most touching reunions in all of Kingdom.
Good morning, Ven.
And what follows is some fan servicey bits that is part of the course for a game like this. Nothing too important, just some awkward voice acting and that weird tell-a-joke, sarcastic response, everyone laughs thing they keep doing for some asinine reason. Some stupid setup for Kingdom Hearts 4 and some other nonsensical let's give it our all everybody bullshit that, you know, Kingdom Hearts loves doing. Yeah, there's nothing really here of note, so I guess I'll just move on. Wait, hold up!
Kairi, I'll keep you safe.
Why are you gay?
Let me keep you safe.
Sora and company finally reach the Keyblade Graveyard for the final battle. With determination in hand and the weight of the worlds on their shoulders, our valiant heroes press on to face the enigmatic threat that
Let me keep you safe. 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 Let me keep you safe.
The game then proceeds to do a recreation of the 1000 Heartless fight from Kingdom Hearts 2, only this time it's apparently 10,000 of them. I despise this fight because it is almost a complete antithesis of the original. The reason the original Heartless army fight in KH2 is held in such high regard is because of the quantity of enemies in one fight, as well as the fight limiting the player to rely on their skill as Sora, and Sora alone. Donald and and Goofy aren't there to help you as they're fighting the other factions of the Heartless Horde, so that meant no team limits, no one to heal you, and no one to back you up. Now, in Final Mix, you have the ability to use Limit Form to help in this fight. But in the original Kingdom Hearts 2 release, you were Sora. You were on your own. And you were the final frontier in stopping the Heartless siege over Hollow Bastion. And you couldn't even rely on drive forms. This fucking battle is so fondly remembered amongst Kingdom Hearts fans that many have stated it's their favorite fight in the entire series. Regardless of how difficult you personally found this battle, I'd argue that the feeling of overcoming all odds has never been more apparent than at this very moment in the game. So why the fuck did Kingdom Hearts 3 fuck it up?
Ruined this piece of entertainment media, and because I am absolutely flabbergasted to the degree of how much of a negative dissonance there is between my expectations and the final product. I am currently very agitated as exhibited by my very angry tone and how flustered my face is getting as seen on your screen, which is quite significantly angry looking.
3/4 of the enemies on the screens are gifts and don't attack you, the fight lasts 2/3 as long as the original, and Sora has Donald, Goofy, and the power of God, friendship, and fucking Disney rides at his disposal. In trying to one-up itself from KH2, the Kingdom Hearts 3 10,000 Heartless battle lost everything that made the original so memorable and iconic. There is absolutely no tension rising from the player during this fight because, as I said before, you have way too many tools at your disposal for combat. And who the fuck could be intimidated by this? The original battle pushed the PS2 to its absolute limit, so much so that it seems that the dev team were forced to cast aside their original iteration of the fight and omitted Behemoth and Wyvern Heartlesses from it. Well, if that recoded cutscene is anything to go by anyway. It is clear as day that something similar happened here for Kingdom Hearts 3. They aimed far too close to the sun and as such were forced to make graphical and mechanical compromises as a result. Instead of worrying about fitting as much Heartless on the screen as possible, they should have focused on a more engaging boss fight instead. I'd happily have accepted the same amount of Heartless from the Kingdom Hearts 2 fight if it meant I got to feel as engaged and stimulated as I did 13 years ago. A prime example of an amazing concept bogged down by an execution so bland you'd think Caitlyn from the gated community on the nice side of town made it.
Now I must tell you, it tastes a little bit like nice, big, beautiful dick.
And now we get to the main reason I went out and made this fucking video, yo. This is without a doubt the most poorly written, poorly executed, and laziest thought out series of events I've ever witnessed in Kingdom Hearts. And that's fucking saying something. I want to give some context of why this scene irritated me so much real quick, so let me explain. The final battle trailer that released shortly before Kingdom Hearts 3's release really impressed me because it seemed to imply that we were going to explore a concept that has been almost non-existent in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Consequence. This dickhead Sora may have a heart of gold, but god damn is he reckless. He acts without reason and never suffers any fallout for it. And I don't want to hear any of you bring up Dream Drop Distance, because realistically, the only negative consequence he had for almost dooming the entire realm of light was that he didn't pass his Mark of Mastery exam, which has literally no effect on the overarching plot whatsoever, and he lost the power of waking. You know, that thing that he literally never lost according to this game. In introducing actual repercussions into a series that many have grown up with, it could have shown a semblance of maturity that would have resonated really well with longtime followers of Kingdom Hearts. We're not kids anymore. All our actions have consequences, and we can't afford to be as reckless as we could have when we were kids or adolescents. It seemed to me that Sora was going to learn this lesson the hard way, like many of us who have had very abrupt transitions from adolescence into adulthood. So upon interpreting this implication from the trailer, I was beyond ecstatic, believing that KH3 had kind of, you know, grown up with me. And then any hope of that happening evaporated once I saw this clusterfuck of a scene. None of it makes any sense, and it left no emotional impact on me because of how poor the execution of it all was. Actually, no wait, one of the scenes was lit as fuck. My nigga Donald, oh my god!
Very first promise? And when if we get scared, or in trouble, or even if we get separated, as a one and wait for us!
Yo! Donald! No!
We're not free!
The rest of this shit though, Jesus Christ, where do I begin? Terranor telling them that the Keyblade will still be forged despite them all perishing before they face the 13th makes absolutely no sense, but I'll elaborate on this later. The amount of nerfing they did to Aqua is just ridiculous. While before she faced Terranor toe to toe in Birth by Sleep and won, here she just stands perfectly still making stupid ass anime noises as she watches one of her closest friends get sent back to 1983.
Axel!
Why do you exist? The best moment in this shitty series of events, and it's not even canon now, technically, I think, I don't know. The scene that follows personifies exactly what I meant when I said that this series of events is just poorly executed. This scene is supposed to be a harrowing realization to both the player and Sora that casualties have been suffered amongst his close friends. And I know I'm supposed to feel the weight of this situation, but something about this scene just does not work.
This can't be real.
I can't pinpoint it exactly, but whether it be the animation, the voice acting, or the editing, the emotional impact just never hit me, like at all.
We stand together.
Aqua!
So wait, you're just gonna give up, like, without even trying? You fought for over a decade in the Realm of Darkness, but one big fat tornado boy and you just call it quits? Even if Riku literally accomplished nothing by trying to fight, he at least tried to do something. See, this would have made a lot more sense had Aqua seen something similar to the Shadow Hurricane in the ROD. Hell, her fighting a demon typhoon and losing could have been the perfect explanation for how she lost her Keyblade down there. And her past trauma from having to run away could have justified her sporadic sense of helplessness. Not much justification, mind you, but it's better than... Everyone is then grabbed by the demon typhoon except for Sora and Riku. It's here where Sora lets out that heartfelt scream from the final battle trailer, and this I don't really have a problem with. Sora acknowledges where his power comes from and realizes that he isn't able to fight alone, and I like that they were trying to ground our fantasy everyman protag here. Unfortunately, due to the breakneck pace of the series of events that led all these characters to die, it's completely unconvincing that any of these protags are going to remain dead, so the emotional impact this scene is trying to evoke is non-existent. Like, yeah, okay, I wasn't expecting it in the first place. This is a Kingdom Hearts game after all. But a proper execution could have made me forget what game I was playing, you know? So anyway, then Riku just gets up and says, "Hey yo, Sora, stop being a little bitch," and just goes up and dies. He just fucking dies. Like, he's just... He was just like, you know what, let me just look cool before I fucking perish. Hey all you insightful viewers, let's play a game! What does the next section of Kingdom Hearts 3 and every Star Wars movie after Return of the Jedi have in common? Time's up, you fucking retard. If you answered that they're both completely unnecessary... You'd be fucking right. I was honestly contemplating avoiding this segment of the game altogether because of just how utterly worthless it is. Other than a foreshadowing for Sora at the end of the game, this shit literally serves no purpose other than shock value. Oh my god, my favorite characters are now dead. Boo-hoo-hoo. but it's okay because a dead person is keeping another dead person from being dead so that he can resurrect and go back in time so he can do the same for the rest of us. Woo-hoo-hoo. What? Like, do you see why I wanted to avoid this? I'd run out of synonyms for stupid less than half a minute in.
Some light comes from the past.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Honestly, I'm not going to spend any more time on this than I need to. Sora technically died and his heart and body were transported to the final world, which is like the purgatory of this universe, and Kairi is using her Princess of Light power to help him cling on to life. While in purgatory, he talks to other persistent hearts that are also clinging on to existence, which include Naminé and some stupid bitch from Union Cross, and Naminé explains more in depth about Sora's precarious situation, as well as stating that she has talked to Terra's spirit and that she is asking him to help in any way that he can. So it's a good thing this cutscene is mandatory so people don't miss these key plot points, and Sora then gathers pieces of himself and regains his body and goes back in time to the moments before he was killed, and the same outcome happens, but he isn't killed this time? I don't fucking know. He saves each of his friends' hearts from a heartless lynch, and after saving the last of them, young Xehanort appears and is all like,
Hababa, hababa-da-ga-da, hababa-da-da-ba, hatapada-ga-da-ga, hatada, hababa, hababa-da-ga-da-ga.
And then he finds Kairi's heart on his way to the present, and I shit you not, because of how awkward the dialogue was here, I thought that Sora had been tricked somehow and Kairi here was nothing but an illusion, but nope, the dialogue is just that awkward.
I told you, Sora.
You're safe with me.
I'm in danger!
And that's it. They return to the past right before they face Terranort. I have 2 points to make before I never touch this senseless subject ever again.
Point number 1.
If you're going to kill off beloved characters Game of Thrones style, then at least have the balls to keep them dead square. What transpired here was the cheapest fucking way to get a rise out of your audience without any lasting repercussions, because look guys, they're not really dead, she. It's so incredibly manipulative and forced to pull a complete narrative 180 like this, and yet we're supposed to eat this schlock up because of this series' reputation of convoluted storytelling. Yo, Nomura/Square? Fuck off. If you're gonna go to the past anyway, why not just skip this entire hassle of getting your friends' hearts back and just go back to the moments before they all perish? If we're gonna go by Kingdom Hearts' shitty time travel rules, then although you may not remember what happens in the future, the events would be carved into your heart, right? So although not consciously aware of what events may occur, you'd be unconsciously capable of taking measures to alter this defeat, right? Honestly, bringing in Kingdom Hearts time travel rules just opens up another fucking can of worms. You know, like that rule where you couldn't change things that were destined to happen? If them being slain already happened, then is it not destined to happen regardless of what measures you take to prevent it? What makes an event destiny and another alterable? I can go on, but I'm gonna stop right here before multiverse theory gets brought up into this already bloated and far-fetched discussion. I don't possess the necessary intellect nor patience to cover such an exhausting topic, and if any of you are willing to go that far to defend this game's narrative, then nothing I say is gonna change your mind anyway, so fuck it! If you need more proof of just how worthless this whole segment is, remember that Donald and Goofy's dialogue when Sora comes back.
It did work!
Of course!
Now point us back at those guys!
Imply that our Guardians of Light have memory of what happened to them previously. And yet, the same exact sequence of events occur, including Ventus naively approaching Terra despite all of them, or at the very fucking least Sora, knowing or should know that the person standing in front of them at this moment is not Terra. This game is basically implying that if Lingering Will didn't show up to save the day, history would have repeated itself verbatim. It's actually insulting how stupid all this is. There's convolution, and then there's just not giving a shit. Okay, so right after I finished editing this segment, I came across the translated Kingdom Hearts 3 Ultimania interviews on KH Insider, in which the absolute madman himself gracefully bestows some clarity for us peasants.
The impact of forcing his friends fading hearts back the way they were real to reality and created a singularity, the relate cost the chronology in which they were destroyed, to have never happened.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational
explanation.
Everyone in this
community
is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, a simple
8 out of 10
would have done just fine, but
Ignoring how cheap and asinine this plot device is, it still doesn't match up to what we are shown in game. It doesn't explain why the Guardians of Light seemingly retain the memories of their defeat, nor does it help clarify why all these protags act so naively in the scene that follows, despite having said memories. You want to have ridiculous plot points / devices in your narrative? That's perfectly fine, but in order for said narrative to work, it has to be fucking consistent within the regulations that you as a storyteller laid out for it. It's so frustrating to me that I've talked about this at length, despite the solution staring everyone straight in the face. All Square had to do was get rid of this cutscene and have Sora come back to the moment he initially first set foot on the Keyblade graveyard, and just start from there. It'd still make no fucking sense, but at least it'd be consistent. A 24-year-old borderline autistic man-baby with no professional story writing experience whatsoever just fixed a stupid plot hole in under 30 seconds. Yet you expect me to believe nobody at the KH writing team noticed such a blatant issue?
There they go. Uh-oh, look at them.